Okay, there's our pulmonary trunk taking blood to the lungs. And then our aorta is going to take blood to the systemic circulation. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the aortic supply. So what I want you to pay attention to is, in this model, of course, it's going to have some limitations. So first of all, I want you to notice there are going to be blood vessels that are going to go up towards the head, and then they're actually going to be our aorta, which you can't really appreciate the arch, but it is going to actually come down and it's going to actually dissect and come right through the diaphragm and come out here. So this would be the abdominal aorta right here. And then it's going to actually bifurcate. So we're going to start at the top and work our way down. So the vessels I talked to you about, I could potentially tag in the practical next week. All right, so let's put our heart back in there. Okay, so when the aorta comes out, it's kind of like a candy cane. And in the aorta, your diagram 53.2, I guess, where it has arteries, it shows the arch. And right on the arch, you have 3 branches coming off the aortic arch. So if somebody near you has that picture, it would be a really good idea to look and notice the arch on here. Okay? So pay attention to your arch for a second, because what we're looking at is actually these 3 blood vessels coming out. They're a little more tight on our guide, but we're going to be looking at these 3 vessels right here. So these 3 vessels coming out. Okay? So if you notice, find on your picture ascending aorta, number 4. Okay? So when it first comes out, when the aorta first comes from the heart, it ascends upward, has the arch, which is the top of the candy cane, and then it descends. So on your picture, you have an ascending aorta, and then number 15 is the arch, and then your descending should be 17, yes. Another name for descending is thoracic, because it's the thoracic cavity. So I want to pay attention to these 3 vessels that are coming out of the aortic arch. Okay, in your picture, number 3, the brachiocephalic artery, okay, is going to be the first one on the right here. Remember, this is the left side, this is the right. So this main branch is called the brachiocephalic artery, or trunk actually, and it is going to bifurcate or divide into 2 vessels. And it is different on the right side than the left. So that's what's going to be unique here. So the brachiocephalic trunk or artery divides into your subclavian artery, which is going to end up going down the arm, and then your common carotid artery, which is going to go into the neck. So subclavian on here is, I believe, 2. Yep, right subclavian is number 2, and then number 1 is your right common carotid. Okay, so brachiocephalic is the main branch, goes into the right subclavian, down the arm, and then right common carotid. Left side's not like that at all. These are not symmetrical, just to make our life that much easier. Okay. So these 2 branches here are actually going to be similar to these 2 branches here. We're going to have the left common carotid and the left subclavian. So the difference is, on the left side, the left common carotid and the left subclavian come right off the aorta. On the right side, they come off the brachiocephalic. So very different anatomy. Got that? And what makes it even worse is it's not the same on the cat. For the cat, the purpose of the dissection of the cat is not as much to memorize as many vessels. It's to get an understanding of how they lay in the body. Remember how I talked about the vessels have connective tissue around them, so you can get a feel for that. You're still going to have to know some of the vessels, but not nearly as many as in the human. Okay, so that's going to be our upper ones, and then now after we bifurcate through the diaphragm, which remember is a skeletal muscle, okay, this would be called your abdominal aorta. So if I have this tagged, it is the abdominal aorta. That is the book called abdominal. 7. What number? Yeah. Okay. So look on your page in the person's abdomen, and notice the vessels that are coming off the aorta itself. A lot of them just look like little sprigs because they're not connected to organs. They don't have very many organs, but can you see the kidneys? Okay, the 2 bean-shaped kidneys. Okay, notice the renal artery number 6 is coming right off the aorta. So in here, this red vessel coming right off the aorta, this is the renal artery. Okay? All right, down just below the umbilicus or belly button, you're going to bifurcate in humans to what are called the common carotids. So, and I actually shouldn't have done that with my hand, so rewind. The common carotid is actually just this part here. The common carotid is going to bifurcate into 2 branches, and thank goodness they're the same on both sides. This is called the external carotid, and it's going to end up becoming the femoral artery and go down into the leg. Then there's an internal carotid, and it's going to dive into the pelvis, and it's actually going to have a lot of branches that go to the uterus, the vagina, the bladder, things like that. What did I say, carotid?
Yeah.
Sorry, you're exactly right.
Okay.
Carotids are here. If I'm saying the word carotid, thank you. It's iliacs. So the carotids do bifurcate also into an internal and external. So sometimes my mouth and brain don't work together. So here we go. Common iliacs, external iliacs, internal iliacs. External iliacs, internal iliacs. Okay, and that can come off, I
Where
guess.
did you say the internal iliacs?
Okay, I'll show you. We'll put it back together. Right here, this branch on both sides. Okay? It goes deep into the pelvis to do your pelvic organs. Whereas the external iliacs go down into the femoral and become actually for the legs. Okay? So like when I would be doing hysterectomies, if I was bothering this, I was in the wrong place. Because my work was always here, so I was worried about branches of this internal because they were going to structures in here. This is really on the person's pelvic sidewall. And unless it was a big cancer case where I was worried about lymph nodes and stuff, I was not paying attention. I was not there. Okay? All right, so let's go over arteries one more time. So coming out of the heart, we have the 3 big branches. Who remembers the one on the right? Right? Brachiocephalic artery. Has 2 branches. This one is the right common carotid. This is the right subclavian. Okay? The right, or the left common carotid and left subclavian come right off the aorta. And that would be this one here, and then this one going into the axilla. Alright, so the arch would come back, go down, dissect right through the diaphragm. It's called the abdominal aorta or descending aorta here. Where it bifurcates or splits, it's called the common iliac, and then the common iliac has the external and internal iliac. Okay? Alright, so on the torso, those would be the only blood vessels that I would potentially label. Now I could do the renal, the one for the kidney, okay? Alright. Now let's do the venous structure. So the veins